was a blizzard outside. The weatherman said it was one of the largest snowstorms our county ever had. And as a 13-year-old boy, this excited me. School was canceled for the foreseeable future until all the roads could be plowed. Since I did not have school the next day, I stayed up all night. I played hours of video games, watched scary movies, and ate junk food. I wrapped myself in heavy blankets, watching the snow fall in heavy chunks, and fell asleep in my living room. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up. It was freezing cold in my living room. It was so cold that I could see my breath. Confused, I got up, blankets draped on me to try to keep me warm, then went to investigate why it was so cold. It did not take long. I walked into my kitchen and saw that our back door was wide open. Half a foot of snow was piled on the floor. Baffled, I got a pan and started shoveling the snow back outside. I had no idea how the door opened. We kept it locked every night. Did the lock break in the snowstorm? I was about to believe this when I saw the footprints. There were fresh footprints that were leading to our back door, but none that were leading away. The chill ran down my spine. That had nothing to do with the snow. That's when I heard footsteps upstairs. I listened closely. It sounded like they were coming from my room. Now that I look back on this, I should have went straight to my parents' room and told them what was happening. But I did not do that. I shut the back door, went up the stairs, and headed for my room. I almost felt like I was dreaming. When I got to my bedroom door, I pressed my ear against it. There was definitely someone moving around in there. I opened the door. My 13-year-old brain was not prepared for what I saw. There was a man in my room. He was throwing my PlayStation and Nintendo Switch into a black bag. But what still haunts me to this day is that the man had on an all-white mask with a poorly drawn red smile. The man saw me open the door, and he put his index finger to his mask as if to shush me. I screamed at the top of my lungs. The man then proceeded to jump out of my bedroom window, glass shattering everywhere. My parents came sprinting in seconds later. We all watched as the man landed safely in the deep, fluffy snow below and ran off. We called the cops, but because of the roads, it took them hours to get to our house. We never caught the man who did this. I woke up to tons of snow outside. Without even checking the news, I knew that we had the day off from school that day. While most kids were outside playing, sledding, and building snowmen, I was going door to door and asking if I could shovel driveways. I always had the entrepreneurial spirit, and in a blizzard like this, all I saw was dollar signs. It was about 12 in the afternoon. Despite it snowing, I was pretty hot underneath all my snow gear and from all the shoveling. I decided I would do one more house before I went back to my place and took a break. I knocked on the door. At first, I didn't think anyone was home. All the lights were off, and there was no car in the driveway. Just as I was about to walk away, the door opened. An old man stood in front of me, but not just any old man. His hair was wild. He had stains all over his shirt, and his teeth were stained yellow. At first glance, I thought he looked like a homeless maniac, but I quickly put my business face on. I asked the man if he would like me to shovel his driveway. I told him my prices, and he agreed, giving me a big toothy smile. I shook off the weird feeling that I was getting and got to work. What did it matter what he looked like? I thought. I'm here to work and not to judge. A half an hour later, I went back to his front door, his driveway cleared and shoveled, to collect the pay. The man opened the front door, looked at the driveway, gave a nod of approval, and told me to come inside. He has the money in there. I was still a bit creeped out by this man, but thought, what the heck? I'll just go in for a second, get the money, and then leave. I stepped inside. It was completely dark. The only light was the bright snow reflecting through the front windows. I felt uncomfortable. The old man said to wait right there. The money was upstairs. I stood there, watching him go up the stairs slowly. The house reeked. Something was definitely rotting, but I could not tell what. There was trash littered everywhere. Empty liquor bottles, beer cans, and other food wrappings were all over the ground. I was starting to become very concerned, because there was no way a human being could live in this kind of condition. I was feeling uneasy when I heard movement coming from upstairs. Then there was a loud bang, like something falling to the ground. Then, from the top of the stairs, the old man poked his head around the corner and told me to come up the stairs, and he will give me the money. The smell, the darkness, the trash everywhere, and the fact that I've seen plenty of horror movies were all enough for me to know that I needed to get out of there. I did not say anything to the old man and just sprinted out his front door and back into the blizzard. I know it was rude on my part, but I did not care. I just had to get out of that house. I ran all the way home, which took longer than normal because of how deep the snow was. When I got home, my parents asked me what was wrong and why did I have that horrified look on my face. I told them about the old man and his house. As I told my story, my parents' faces grew more and more concerned. When I finished telling about the terrifying man, they asked what house was this and the address. I told them, and that's when my parents gasped in shock. They saw the confused look on my face and explained. My father told me the house that I went to with the crazy old man has been an empty house in their town for over 5 years now. No one was supposed to be living in it, and it was as good as abandoned. This startled me to my core. We ended up calling a local officer to go and check the place out. But when they got to the house, no one was there. They searched the entire property and found nothing. It was empty. To this day, I have no clue who that old man was and what he was doing in that house. I'm just thankful to God that I did not go upstairs and get the money. A massive blizzard hit our town. School was canceled for over a week, and us neighborhood kids could not be happier. It was the second day of school being canceled. Me and a bunch of neighborhood kids decided we wanted to make a snowman in the front of my house. We went all out. We gave the snowman a black top hat, a scarf, twigs for arms, and a carrot nose. We had a blast, and we even sang the Frosty the Snowman song around him, childishly believing that we could bring him to life. But of course, the song did not work, and we eventually got too cold and all decided to go back home and warm up for the night. After I put on dry clothes, wolfed down my mom's homemade soup, I jumped into bed. The heavy snow outside my window cozily put me to sleep. Around 2 in the morning, I woke up to a loud thump on my bedroom window. This startled me, but I got up and went to my window. I was confused as to what made the noise when a snowball exploded on my window. I jumped back, startled, but then started laughing. I figured it was one of my neighborhood buddies sneaking out and throwing snowballs at my window. But I surveyed out my bedroom window, and I did not see anything or anyone, just white snow everywhere. I was about to grab my cell phone and text my friends to see if it was one of them when a third snowball hit the window. I looked all around again, but this time I noticed something. A snowman. But the odd thing was, it was the Frosty snowman that we had built earlier that day. It had the top hat, the scarf, everything. The reason this was odd was because we built the snowman in the front of my house. I was in my bedroom, which was on the back side of my house. It was impossible for Frosty to be there right now. But there he was. A nervous chill started to creep down my spine. If this was a prank by my friends, it was a very elaborate prank. I grabbed my cell phone to take a picture of Frosty, but when I got back to my window, he was gone. I blinked hard, trying to see if maybe the snow was blocking him. But no, Frosty was gone, vanished. That's when the doorbell rang. My heart pounded in my chest. I could hear my parents' bedroom door open and my father start to make his way down the stairs. I bolted out of my room and started to follow behind my father. We got to the front door and opened it. What we saw still disturbs me to this day. On our front steps was Frosty. The only difference was, this Frosty had a knife plunged into its head. There was a note attached to his twig arms. I pulled it off and read it. All it said was, "Frosty is dead." We never figured out how this happened.